Hi, I'm Larry Micarenda, and welcome again to Smithtown Town Council Update with Mr. Ed Werheim. Ed, it's been crazy. These storms, they hit everybody, and I know it's hurricane season. We really did kind of just, miss the really big one not too long ago. Can you give some of the residents of Smithtown an update on what happened with Irene and some of the damage that was done to the town and the facilities?
Sure, Larry. First of all, thank you for having me back. It's nice to be back. And you're absolutely correct. Tropical Storm Irene, we were very, very lucky. It could have been far worse. It was actually coming up here as a Category 1 hurricane. I think everybody knows that. In Smithtown, we fared very, very well. Thank goodness we had no reports of any personal injury. We had a huge amount of trees come down, of course, and power lines, as did most of the island, which we're in the process of cleaning up as we speak. Right now, as of today, we have about 900 homes without power. I know the South Shore had quite a bit of flooding. We fared much better than that in Smithtown. Actually, we had no structural damage, and only 2 of our facilities had to be closed. One was Hoyt Farm, and that was due to hazardous downed trees and wires. And Callahan's Beach, which has a drainage structure on the beach that takes all of the drainage from the upper and lower parking facilities that was damaged. So that beach was closed for about 3 days. Both of those facilities, as of today, are back up and running. So we have those 900 homes that we're still working on with LIPA. And all in all, for the type of storm it was, we fared pretty well.
Now, you actually went out in this as councilman, and you were surveying the damage both to the facilities and the Smithtown residents. On first impact, it must have been very impressive.
Well, it was. It was impressive. I will tell you that in my days as Parks Director, I was also here for Hurricane Gloria. This was not nearly as severe, but very surprisingly, there was a lot of downed tree damage. Main arteries closed. So we had to mobilize with our emergency preparedness people immediately, with our highway, parks, sanitation departments, which we did, and we touched base with LOCO, which is LIPA now, which is the protocol, and began clearing those roads probably within 3 or 4 hours of the completion of the storm.
Now, you also got to work with the superintendent of highways, Mr. Jorgensen. The town was kind of on alert, getting everybody out. Like, I know for a fact that you were out there during this whole mess, right, trying to see things, and you had said and made a statement, even that was in the papers, about resident safety being first. You were worried about the down lines and everything else like that.
Sure.
How was the cooperation with the highway? How were they doing?
The highway did an excellent job. Kudos to them. Our Parks Department, Sanitation Department, joined highway with their equipment, and it was all managed by Public Safety Department, who is actually our emergency preparedness coordinators. John Valentine, the director in his Department of Public Safety, just did an outstanding job coordinating with LIPA initially to get some main roadways cleared. And the reason for that is, of course, emergencies. If there's any type of health emergency, we need to access those residential homes for medical purposes, et cetera, with emergency vehicles. So the only way we can do that is to get right to the roads that are completely blocked, and there were many, and clear them up. And all of those departments coordinated extremely well. The only problem we did have, to tell you the truth, was with LIPA initially. It appears that it's a communication problem, and we're going to be debriefed by our public safety director probably within the next 2 weeks to ascertain exactly what happened. But it basically was communication with their field level supervisors, and that caused some delays in getting us started.
Now, you had mentioned before the show, and we were talking about it, was that you would like to see a little bit more done in the town of Smithtown as far as hurricane preparedness, and that you wanted to work with both Mr. Jorgensen and the Parks Commissioner to try to make it better next time around that this might happen.
Well, sure. When you have these type of occurrences, you always want to learn from what happened and do better. Although I do think Smithtown does an excellent job. We were very, very prepared for this storm. We tracked it for 5 days before, but certainly there's always room for improvement. We did coordinate those departments together for equipment, along with our fire districts in the event that they needed our help. But certainly at this debriefing, we'll bring up any issues where we feel there were problems or delays, and of course we'll correct them for the future.
Now, Ed, like I said, we had just spoke about the storm, and we did want to give everybody here in Smithtown a little bit of an update of what had happened and what was going on and what's going to be done in the future to try to help prevent this. And like you were saying before the program, opening definitely a whole new communications with LIPA or whoever may be running the show at that time,
right,
to help improve things for the residents. Now, we had left off with resident safety right before the summer, and one of the things that was close to your heart was the traffic safety about the roads out in Main Street in Smithtown. Do you have an update for us on that?
Correct. Sure, I do. Senator Flanagan's office has been extremely helpful along with DOT. There has been 2 meetings since the last time that you and I talked on the show here. And DOT has an alternate plan that they were going to work on to present to the town to actually divert traffic and circumvent the Main Street area of Smithtown. And that would be westbound traffic going down north on Landing,
right,
and south on Redwood back out to the other end. I will tell you truthfully that we took a look at that on our town board. We're not so sure that we want to see the DOT proceed that way. Mm-hmm. We still have recommendations to them to paint different traffic lane configurations in that business district, lessen some of the parking, and I think that's more of a plan that the town board would approve. The other plan is very extensive, and it really does push traffic down towards a set of railroad tracks that cross Landing Avenue. If there is a train, of course, that will back traffic up further. So we're going to continue to work with them. They've done some terrific work with new traffic signals. The timing will be completely corrected on those traffic signals. Mm-hmm. They've upgraded all of the crosswalks, brand new crosswalk indicators for pedestrians. So we've worked out well with DOT, and there has been extensive work done, of course, on both sides, state DOT and the town level, to protect our residents.
Now, also, we were kicking off summer, and now we're saying goodbye to it. This is our fall edition. How did the parks fare? This park, the season for the summer, the 2011 summer season for Parks and Recreation, revenue up, revenue down, things kind of the same. Right.
Well, we did leave off, and you're right. Summer's over now, and it went extremely quick. I just brought some figures with me, so I can show you that how widely used our facilities actually were this year, and they were actually at record levels. We had about 10,000 participants enrolled in our summer programs. We had 890 participants at our swimming lessons at the Landing Country Club pool. About 1,200 children took advantage of our playground program. We serviced 62 men's softball teams. We hired about 310 local youths to work for the summer. So all in all, it would appear from Parks and Recreation reports, which we received probably a week ago, that we actually this summer had record numbers of residents using the facilities.
And you had spoke before about the group outings.
Yes.
So group outings way up?
All at the maximum. Our camping at both facilities in Smithtown, which is Callahan's and Short Beach, every weekend was at a maximum. And that hasn't happened in quite some time. Your weekends will be full. Holiday weekends, of course, would be full to capacity. This summer, the reports show that every single weekend, Friday through Sunday night, was at maximum capacity at the facility. So that was much more usage.
A lot of staycations happening, Ed.
A lot of staycations. I mean, I have to contribute to that. I think the price of gas and the economy, these figures just prove that certainly people are using their local facilities to recreate and their quality of life.
Now, one thing that you were very happy about on the summer edition that we did was the Hoyt Farms and the concert series that was going on. How did that go for everybody?
The concerts went extremely well. We had 3 teen nights, which were also filled to capacity, sponsored by the youth program. We bring teens into Hoyt Farm, and we allow that to be their playground for the night in a very safe environment. Parents can drop their children off. There's a supervision provided by the town. They were extremely successful, and the concerts were just about every single concert was filled to capacity. So our residents, all the hard work that we talked about in our last program, getting these facilities set up, all worked out well because the residents seemed to surely enjoy them.
Now, how did those park renovations that we were talking about right before Memorial Day weekend and summer kicked off, how did they pan out in Smithtown?
Well, I also just in my statistics here, I can tell you that they
came well prepared, Ed.
They worked out well. What we did is I think last time we were here, we talked about our former Armory Park site.
Yes.
I believe we touched on that we were going to rename that, officially name it.
Yes.
And it was going to be named after my former boss, Charles P. Toner. That ceremony took place. That park was renamed Charles P. Toner Nesconset Community Park. The library, about 2 weeks ago, at that same site, the renovations were completed, and we had a grand opening of that. So that facility is just a wonderful piece of development for the Nesconset community. Also filled to capacity. The Village Green in that area also held concerts that were sponsored by the Nesconset Chamber of Commerce, and they were also filled to capacity. There were some nights there were records of 3,000 people at them.
Wow.
So the facilities were well used. What we have done at some of our park renovations, we have a park called Burwinkle Park in Comac that has brand new basketball and tennis courts that were just redone. We also have a brand new water park that was up and running this year at Vets Memorial in St. James, and we have scheduled to be completed at Cy Donley Park, which is in Kings Park, 2 new tennis courts and a new basketball court. And we tried something new for the first time in Smithtown at the Charles P. Toner Park. We created our first dog walk park, which met with rave reviews. We have not had one in Smithtown, but we tried it, and the residents love it, and they're able to bring their dogs up there and recreate with them, and it worked out very well.
So a lot of paws and hands raised at the new dog park?
They were open to all, even your pets. If you want to come you're welcome to come to the parks, even with your pet.
Now, the parks renovations pretty much complete. All set now for the fall. What kind of fall activities can we expect in Smithtown? I mean, we're going to do our winter and holiday thing at the end of the year, but for fall, what can the residents expect?
Well, our parks, for group picnics, etc., our parks stay open right into October. We run them right till about the end of October, as well as our sports, our fall sports. So you're going to have soccer, of course. You're going to have football taking over for baseball. So generally, our facilities are full. The beaches will close officially on Labor Day, which has just passed. However, we do keep them open probably till the end of September generally. If we have a park attendant that we can put on duty, we leave the restrooms open. If not, we have to lock them. But the beaches themselves will stay open for people to go down and walk the beach, etc. Lifeguards, of course, are finished. There's swimming is prohibited. The lifeguard towers are put away. But you have many fall activities, as well as our recreation guide, which we brought up last time. They have fall activities that they start, fall programs. They'll be moving into some of the school gymnasiums. So it really doesn't end. It continues on even after Labor Day at most all facilities until probably the end of October.
But unless you're really like into the Polar Bear Club in 60-degree water, most of the beaches, I doubt anybody be going in.
Yeah, the residents do go down, though. There are many people that will go down on a weekend just to walk the beach, and some sit and enjoy the Long Island Sound. So they're used, not of course as widely as summer, but swimming, you're not going to really find much.
And one of the things we had discussed on the last program was seasonal employment, and that the town of Smithtown had received major applications for all these seasonal positions that were available. How did that pan out for Smithtown?
Well, it worked out well. Unfortunately, we filled every position. There were some of our youths, unfortunately, that were not able to be hired because there's only so much money in the budget. We have parameters when we hire them. But we put on a few extra people, as I cited here, in the recreation department. But there were very few. I think most of our young adults in Smithtown that wanted a job were able to come to work and make some money for the summer. Most of them put it towards college when they go back, and many of them have now finished up their summer employment and they're heading back to college. And we keep the few high school students that we use for weekends, etc. We'll keep them on again till the end of October.
And the good thing about this is that how good does it look for an 18-year-old or a 19-year-old when they have the town of Smithtown on their resume when they go out to apply for a position?
Well, sure. Listen, they all use it. It's a great experience for them. They really learn quite a bit about the workforce. We have a pretty rigorous schedule for those employees that work. They're well supervised, and they have to toe the line and do the job to get a paycheck. And we feel it's a great learning experience for them. And most of them seem to enjoy the experience.
Yeah, you had said to me prior to the program about a lot of them coming up to you and saying that they hoped that they saw you next year and that they wanted to come back, and you told them to get their applications in early.
Well, let me tell you, for the last 2 years or so, that is the case. And the way we work it is any employee who had worked this year has first opportunity at filing their applications next year, but I do advise them when they do talk to me, make sure you get your application in early, because they start sorting through them in January, which is only a few months away for the season. So I advise them to get it in, and many of them do.
And they did do a bang-up job keeping the beaches clean and working with parks and highway and all around the town to keep things beautiful. And
Yeah,
one of the things that you want in Smithtown is to keep this beautiful environment that we have out here.
Right. Well, we as we talked many times on the show, we pride ourselves on that in Smithtown. Our facilities, for years and years now, have been known as some of the finest in New York State. We do really keep them well maintained and clean. And the fact, as I brought up, with record usage this year, and primarily the same amount of employees, I don't know of any complaints that we received in town hall. So certainly my hat's off to those young adults that came to work for us, because they really did a great job this summer for us.
And we were just talking about the summer environment. Let's talk about the total environment out in Smithtown. Your environmental initiatives that we were talking about, we just touched on briefly because your paperwork was being done, things were coming forward.
Correct.
But now we're heading into fall and things are moving a little bit better for the environmental incentives. Can you mind telling the residents about that? Sure.
Well, the last time we were here, we spoke about our solar panel initiative at our multiple service facility, which is our recycling facility. That project, I'm happy to say, has been completed. It is up and running. We also have prepared to award a bid for a wind turbine at that same location. It isn't up yet. We will be awarding the bid, I would think, probably within a month. Once we award the bid, the engineering specifications are complete, and that wind generator will go up, which is going to take over probably 10% of the electric power. So in the multiple service facility with our recycling, we're looking very, very good for a great economical 10 years as far as power goes. We'll be using solar and wind energy on both of those. On the vehicle front, we continue to make advances there. We have ordered for the 2012 fiscal year 2 compressed natural gas powered buses for our senior center to transport our seniors, and a new Packer truck, which is a solid waste collection vehicle for the Parks Department. All 3 of those vehicles will be compressed natural gas. So we haven't given up on any portion of our environmental initiatives in Smithtown. We're going to continue to do it because the proof is in the pudding, and we have saved a good amount of tax dollars by doing it. So we're going to continue down that road.
So, Ed, going even greener into the future for Smithtown?
Yeah, we're going to. We think it works. We're high on it in Smithtown. You know, we started probably before any other municipality, and they're following us now. The Huntington is working on contracts for compressed natural gas Packer trucks. We've been in discussions with school districts about the bus fleet. So we feel we're confident that it works, and it certainly does save money. There's no question about it.
And one of the biggest money spenders was that facility that went solar, and that was becoming a big dent in the town budget, as you were telling me about You know, people complain about their LIPA bill. They should see what
Well,
Smithtown was
they wouldn't believe that LIPA bill because, as I said, all the equipment is in there to do the recycling. It uses a huge amount of power, and that's why we chose that particular facility to implement these green initiatives, because it's going to pay dividends over the next 10 years. There's no question about it.
And the natural gas, of course, the way oil prices and everything else is going, and a lot cleaner. How many times people were complaining about the garbage trucks and they come by to smell the diesel and everything, to have a garbage truck come down your block and not even know it.
Oh, it's a much cleaner initiative, Larry, and there's no question we've proven that it is. It's much better for the health of the resident. I think they take about 750,000 tons of particulates out of the air by using the fleet that we're using per year, which I'm not all that privy to that science, but according to our environmental people, that is a huge health benefit to the residents of the town, as you said. So certainly it's a fuel that's produced in the United States of America, so we cut off the dependency on foreign fuels. All of our natural gas is produced here in America, and that's why we've taken that route. All our buildings are heated with natural gas. So we're gonna continue to do our part to take us off dependency on foreign oil and benefit the taxpayer by saving money.
The other incentive that we were talking about on the last program was economic development, which was, again, another step in the right direction. We're moving forward now. It's the fall. How are things going with that program? Well,
things are still moving along. Unfortunately, to my taste, sometimes government moves a little slower than I'd like, but and I think most political people will tell you that. However, we are making progress. We have scheduled for the 15th of this month at our night board meeting, we are going to put a resolution on to opt back into the tax abatement incentive, which Smithtown has been out of probably for the last 10 or 15 years. So the reason for that is we've met with county officials, and what we are going to do is we're going to try to market Smithtown better in the realm of economic development by giving them tax abatements. We haven't had that, and I think I referenced in the last show that we've been fortunate up to this point because we were still receiving developers and businesses that wanted to come in. That has waned a little bit, which has provoked us to take a second look at that.
Right.
Because Huntington, Islip, Brookhaven, or surrounding municipalities are working with the county to market their municipalities, and they have these abatements. Usually they're a 10-year deal. If a company wants to locate here, they get a 50% reduction in taxes for the first year, and then it's graduated for the next 10. At the end of the 10 years, they get the full assessment of taxes. So it would appear from our research we're going to have to do that, and we're prepared to do it. Begin doing it on the board meeting of the 15th of this month, and we feel that'll be very, very helpful in attracting some bigger corporations. And we have a number of corporations that are looking to expand. Forest Labs, some of them are research and development that have talked, but I think without the abatement component, I think we would lose them in Smithtown. So we're going to try and do what we can to bring them here.
And not just that, bringing more jobs into Smithtown, which jobs are so sorely needed right now at this time.
Sure.
And with the economy being things the way they were, I mean, the 08, 09 hit that pretty much everybody took, the strip in Smithtown, which was known at any type of car in the world that you wanted to get, you just drove down that area in Smithtown to get. A lot of the dealerships were folding because of the companies were pulling them and
Sure.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the one good thing was, and you had mentioned this, was about the small business owners and the beautiful restaurants in Smithtown that they were able, you know, because of the quality of food, they were able to still weather the storm out.
Yeah, and they still are. There's not one that has closed. They're all thriving in Kings Park, in St. James, in Nesconset, in Smithtown proper. Every one of them that are open are still operating and doing well. You're right. Some of the car dealerships are gone. They're not going to come back. They're just not. The dealerships that are there now are probably all that are going to be there. Our planning department is in the process as we speak on a master plan for that Jericho Turnpike corridor. I would think that would probably be completed within the next month or so. and then we're going to see what our planners feel we should do on those properties. I think it's
Right.
going to initiate a zone change, of course. I know out east here on my drive out to your program, out this far, I see that they've done along Jericho Turnpike some residential development in the form of townhouses and condominiums. And the parcels that these automobile dealerships have vacated are large enough to accommodate
Very
something
large.
like that. So we're gonna look into those avenues also.
Well, that is, we're getting ready to wrap up here. The next program, we'll talk a little bit about what we're going to be talking about, is going to be the holiday season.
Right.
It's going to be winter. Hopefully we will be spared what we got hit with last year. I'm surprised Mr. Jorgensen didn't pull out all his hair. And hopefully he'll have a full head of hair this winter. We won't get beat up on that or anything like that. Do you have any closing comments for
Just
the program?
yeah, what I'd like to do is along the lines of our economic savings and how I feel and I think I'm right that the town board in Smithtown is always looking after the tax dollar. I think it's very, very important that we protect the tax dollar. A great initiative that goes along with our recreation. The federal government had a Homeland Security survey sent out recently, and that survey we took that survey and we filed an application with Homeland Security. And I'm very, very pleased to let our residents know that the result of that is we received and have it in hand a $300,000 all-weather patrol boat from Homeland Security to monitor marine traffic in Long Island Sound. That boat was free. It's on a government dime. It's going to be put into service at the end of this week, and it allowed us to take a patrol boat or two out of the capital budget that we now do not have to bill our taxpayers for. So we're pretty proud that we were the only municipality in Suffolk County that received it, and there were multiple applications. So again, hats off to our Public Safety Marine Division. They did a wonderful job with the application, and that $300,000 boat will be in service for our taxpayers at no charge to them. So it's a great initiative that we're proud of.
And after these battering of storms that we were just talking about, and we have no idea what's going to happen to us this winter, it's a great thing to happen this winter.
Yeah, it's a great thing. As we said before, we always look forward. You don't know what kind of winter we're having. We spent a lot of money last year. Hopefully we don't have to, but if we save it now, we have it for when we need it, and that's really our philosophy on the Smithtown Town Board.
Well, Ed, that's about it for this program, which has been the fall edition of the Smithtown Council Update with Ed Warham. I've been your host, Larry Mike Garenda, and we'd like to hear from you, and Ed would like to hear from you. So please look at the prompts at the end of the program, and we'll be back here for the next winter edition, I guess, Ed. Take care and have a great day.